There we go. Okay. Lesson 1.5, we're going to talk about some inequality. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Okay, let's do this. Okay, move you guys over a little bit. Try to give myself more room here. Okay, see me. Okay, here we go. Solving inequalities. Okay, so we're going to do some translating here, and then we're going to talk about solving inequalities. So, first thing, number one, in May, Rick was taller than Carl, excuse me. Both boys grew 3 inches during the summer. Okay, so part A, write an inequality describing their heights in May. Use capital R for Rick and C for Carl. Okay, so in May, Rick was taller than Carl. So we're gonna say R is greater than C. All right, so that's my inequality. And then part B says, write an equality describing their heights in August. All right, so in August, the boys both grew 3 inches. So that means Rick's height was 3 more. Carl's height is 3 more, okay? And, well, who's still taller? Well, Rick is still taller, right? Since they both grew the same amount, Rick is still taller. So Rick is taller in August, or was taller, I should say. Okay. All right, number 2. In January 2014, Jeb had less money than Donald. In 1 year, they both doubled their money. Write an equality that describes their money in January. All right, so in January, Jeb has less money than Donald. All right, so J is less than D. In 1 year, they both doubled their money. So 2J is less than 2D. Okay, so who had more money in January? Donald did. Oh, all right, so Donald had more money. Okay, so those are just some examples for inequalities. Those will make more sense once we get down towards the bottom. Okay, so we're just kind of setting up our examples right now. All right, number 3. Choose 2 multiples of 3 and write them below. All right, so go ahead, give me a multiple of 3. Anybody, unmute, just throw out a multiple of 3.
7.
Say it again.
6.
6. Okay, there's one. And give me another one. Anyone?
9.
9. Okay. So I put an inequality sign between them. Okay. So 6 is less than 9. Okay. Next, we want to divide both numbers by -3. So divide by -3, divide by -3. I get -2. I get -3. Now, what inequality should go between -2 and -3? What inequality sign makes sense? Is -2 less than -3, or is -2 greater than -3? Anyone?
Greater than?
Thank you. Greater than. All right. So what do you notice? The inequality got flipped, right? So when you divide by a negative, when you divide by a negative number, the inequality flips. Okay, so that is the one rule, the one rule in inequalities that you have to remember, okay? It's just that you got to flip that inequality when you divide or multiply by a negative one number, okay? That's the one rule for inequalities. Okay, so with all that, with all those examples, we have these principles for inequality. Okay, so true or false, or it depends. Okay, so for number one, or for number 4, if you're given that A is greater than B, right? If you add C, a constant, to both sides, right? You're adding a constant, then A plus C is always going to be greater than B plus C. Oh, sorry.
Well, why did he put
Should
always?
be true. Oh, sorry. I think I heard a question.
No, it's okay. I was just asking about the true or false. But you
Okay, yeah, sorry. Should have paid attention to directions. Yeah, so true. That is true. When you do A minus C and you subtract C, oops, that was supposed to be a highlighter. When you subtract C from both sides, is A minus C going to be less than B minus C? No, that's false. The opposite is true. A minus C should be greater than B minus C. Okay. Now, when you multiply, okay, as you can probably tell, you have a lot more lines. This one, it depends, right? So it depends. And it depends on if C is positive or negative, all right? If C is positive, then, oops, sorry, that's the comma. AC will be greater than BC. If C is negative, then AC will be less than BC. All right, so it depends on what C is. And same thing for part D, right? It depends. If C is positive, then A over C will be greater than B over C. But if C is negative, then A over C will be less than B over C. Okay, so you can see all 4 operations working with inequalities. All right, any questions before we get into some examples? Okay, let's try some. Here we go. So number 5. It says solve each inequality and graph on a number line. All right, solve and graph. So first thing, I'm going to go ahead and isolate my variable, add 15 to both sides.
I'll up a little bit so you can see what you wrote down before that.
Oh, sorry.
Something, what is it again? 9 over C. Okay, cool. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so add 15 to both sides, divide by 4, and just isolate your variable just like you were solving an equation. I didn't divide or multiply by a negative, so my inequality just still stays the same. So this is my final answer for solving. And then to graph, I have 9. And on the 9, I'm either going to have an open circle or a closed circle. Do you guys know which one?
Closed.
I heard closed. Good. Why closed, Maddie?
Because it's saying it can be 9 or, I mean, it can be less than or equal to 9.
Yeah, it can be less than or equal to 9. Perfect response. Nice. Okay. So when there's that equal sign, just remember to fill in the circle, right? So kind of like this emoji. Okay. If it's open, then it would be more like this emoji. Okay. So when you have lines on the eyes, you want to fill in the circle. There's no lines, keep that circle not filled. All right. So less than, I'm going to have a solid dot on 9 shading in to the left. All right, so all numbers less than or equal to 9. Okay, number 6. Number 6, I'm going to subtract the 18, leaving me with negative 3y is less than negative 6. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. So here we got to be careful. I'm going to switch the inequality since I divided by a negative. So I have 2, open circle, and greater than. So I'm going to shade all numbers greater than 2. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, everybody's still doing good. All right, let's go ahead and show number 7. All right, number 7, I'm going to subtract the 7 over to the left-hand side. By the way, I know some of you guys might be thinking, oh, I want to subtract the 3f over. You can do that. Actually, you know what? Let me show that. All right, let me show what would happen if you subtract the 3f over. So I'm going to subtract the 3f over. So I get negative 1 greater than 4f minus 9. Add the 9 over. So I get 8 is greater than 4f. Divide the 4. So I get 2 is greater than f. Now here, do not box your answer, okay? You only box your answer once your variable is on the left-hand side. So we're going to have to flip this around to be f is less than 2. Yeah, flip that whole thing around so that this is your final answer. Okay, I will not accept 2 is greater than f. All right, f has to come first. The variable has to come first. And that makes graphing a lot easier because your inequality points to the direction you shade. Okay. Any questions so far? All right, let's go on to the next page. Here we go. All right, so same thing this time. Problems getting a little bit more tough. All right, so starting with number 8. Let me start oh, this one has a fraction. I'll go and show this one. All right, so number 8. Go ahead and isolate your variable. I'm going to subtract 3/4 n to this side, so I get negative 2/4 n, which is negative 1/2 n. Subtract the 12, and I get negative 16. And now I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 2. Okay. Since I'm multiplying by a negative, I'm going to switch the sign. And left-hand side simplifies to n. Right-hand side simplifies to 32. All right, so solid dot shading to the left of 32. Ooh, lost somebody. Okay. Number 9. Any ideas? What would you guys do first for number 9? Anyone?
Multiply it by 3.
Ideas. What would we do first for number 9?
Multiply by 3.
Nice. Good. Multiply by 3. That makes things so much easier because then you don't have to worry about that fraction. So it's a positive, so I don't need to change the sign. So that leaves me with 3c greater than or equal to c plus 4. Subtract the c, divide by 2. C is greater than or equal to 2. Final answer. Solid dot, shading to the right. Okay. Any questions? All right, let me start calling on people. Here we go. All right, let's start with Brendan. All right, Brendan, help me out. Number 10, what would you do?
Brennan's Zoom just crashed, actually. He said he's restarting it right now.
Oh, is he the one that just left? Ah,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Let's go to Yanni.
Yeah.
Yanni, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Yanni, what would you do first?
Divide by -3.
Oh, good move. Nice. A lot of people would say distribute the -3, but I think your method is way smarter because it makes numbers smaller, which makes it easier. So I'm going to divide by -3. So I get 4w minus 1, switch the sign because I divide by a negative, is equal to -6. Good. All right, Yanni, keep going. What do you do next?
+1 to both sides.
Good. All right, so I got 4w is less than -5. Good. Keep going.
And then divided by 4.
Good.
On both sides.
Perfect. All right, so we got a final answer now of w is less than -5/4. So plot -5/4 on your number line, open circle, shading to the left. Nicely done, Yanni. Okay, let's try the next one, number 11. Let's go to Chris. Chris, number 11. What would you do first?
I'll subtract the 5.
Subtract the 5. Brilliant. Okay, subtracting the 5. There you go. Okay.
Then I'll multiply by 4.
Good. All right. Multiply the 4. There you go. And now what?
Then divide by -1.
Good. And what do I have to be careful of?
The sign.
Yeah, flip that sign. All right, and there it is. P is greater than or equal to 28. Solid circle, shading to the right. Good job, Chris. All right, and our last one for this type, number 12, Jackson. Go for it.
First off, distribute the 5 into the equation, or the 5
Okay.
and 3n.
Nice. Okay, so tell me what to write actually for this one.
Okay, it's 4n minus 5n minus 15
Ooh, careful.
to the 3. Or
So when
Yeah.
you distribute, that's the -5, so it'd be negative or minus 5.
plus 15 plus 15.
There it is. Good.
Is greater than 3n plus 3 minus 4.
Good. And I think you meant less than, but it's cool. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what would you do next?
4 minus 5, so you get -5 or -1n plus 15,
Good.
and then it's greater than or less than 3n plus or -1,
Good. Nice. Keep going.
and then you add the 1n to the other side,
Okay.
and then 15 is less than 4n minus 1. Then you add the 1, so you get 16 is less than 4n. And you
Good.
divide by 4, and then you get 4 is less than n, and then you gotta switch it, right?
Yep. Good.
Do n is greater than 4.
Good job. Nicely done, Jackson. Way to go. All right. So big circle open on 4, shading to the right. Solid. Good job. All right. Let's go ahead to our word problems here. Excellent job, guys. Okay, number 13, we're going to translate this. Write an inequality for this problem and then solve. All right, so I'm going to write the inequality first, and then I'm going to translate it, and I'm going to solve it. So 1/2 of a number, so that's 1/2 times a number, is more than, all right, so is more than 6 less than the same number. So I know 6 less than means -6 at the end, and the same number, n. All right, so that is the translation. To solve, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Subtract the n over. Divide by -1. And that's my final answer. Okay. And that's how you do a translation. And I kind of like how I do this a lot. I like write on the words like this. So I'll like circle the more than, because that's like my inequality. And that way I have my sentence, it has like 2 sides, just like my inequality has 2 sides. So it helps me kind of like visually separate it in the sentence. So feel free to use that trick. All right, number 14. Find the mistake or mistakes and describe the mistake or mistakes made using a complete sentence. All right, so I'll let you guys go ahead and look at it for a sec, and then I'll call on someone. Probably guess what the mistake is. Maybe.
Is it that the variable isn't on the left?
Oh, that's one. Yeah. I was going to call on someone, but yes, that is one, that the variable should be on the left. There's another mistake though. Samantha, I'm going to try. What do you think, Samantha? Oh, Samantha?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Oh, that's okay. All right, Samantha, go for it. What do you notice another mistake besides it has to be on the variable has to be on the left?
No.
Miss Leong,
Oh, Joseph.
I think I
Yes.
got it.
Oh, you got it. Okay, Joseph.
You have to switch the inequality as well
Yes, and why should they switch the inequality?
because it's a negative, and so you should always like switch it if you have a negative.
Not if you have a negative, but if you do specifically what with a negative number?
Oh, you divide.
Yeah, if you divide by a negative number. So from here to here,
Yay.
they
I'm smart.
divided by -2, but they did not switch the sign. Okay, so the mistake is that they did not flip the inequality after dividing by -2, they also didn't have the variable on the left in their final answer. All right, so those are 2 mistakes actually. Okay, good job, guys. That is it for lesson 1.5. Any questions?